our feedback is from watching people enjoy the wine.
The signing of Straub.
Huge. Oh, yeah. The average consumer has to rely on that one individual gave it this arbitrary subjective points instead of...
Yes.
Oh, that's great. I like that. It's like, don't overthink it. Just drink what you like. Oh, yeah.
And that's the sound of the start of another Los Cuernos podcast. Welcome back, everybody. It is the end of Q3, and we're here with Zeke and with Cory for another podcast. I'm super excited to get into this one today because I think we say this every podcast, but there has been a lot going on, a serious amount, particularly in this last month here in March. So why don't we get it kicked off and started off today with probably one of the most exciting announcements that I've had in a while is the signing of Straub.
Huge.
That immediately, that's an applause.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, talk to us about that. What is...
Game changer for Los Cuernos. Straub is a legacy family-owned distributor, one of the biggest in the state of California, and they specifically serve Orange County, the Orange County market, but they also serve the LA market too. And what was next?
Some of the IE along the 15 as well. So they're really big. I think for us, the big thing is that we start with the Brown Bag in San Diego, who's more of a craft beer distributor, a smaller footprint, where Straub has an enormous footprint in all of the chain accounts, grocery, mass merch, a lot of the counter service chains. They're going to give us the level of coverage service. They also have point of sale in-house like services. So I think it'll really give us a chance. Our mission is to make, great wine more available, that we're going to be able to get out to a lot more places.
Yeah.
With them.
For some more context on Straub, you have to understand the breadth of their portfolio. It's huge. Thousands. We're talking thousands of SKUs. And not only that, but some of the largest brands that any consumer would know, starting with Budweiser, Bud Light. I mean, and the list goes on and on and on. And they're a huge operation. So it's just a whole different ball game, like I think their sales team consists just in Orange County of like 30 reps, but it's not only that. Not only do they have a bigger sales team, if you think about it and you go back to kind of the brands, the amount of them and which ones they are, well, a nuance of it is they happen to align in the sub channels of where our product wins, which is huge. So we've strategically picked them, and they win well everywhere, but specifically in the accounts that we do with a single serve portable product, and it's just a different game. So every one of their accounts, they're in there every week. I mean, it's just like they're very close with with their retailers and so it's great for us.
And to me, it very much sounds like as well, it's like just a lot of, it's the plan paying off. I think everything has been strategically planned. Like you said, there's always a lot of alignment that goes into it with you guys and making sure that the distributor aligns with your accounts and that you're continuing to try and serve that community throughout the entire process as a brand.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it just sounds like it's not necessarily luck, but again, just strategic payoff of starting off with Brown Bag, which I know is extremely important to you guys, and continuing that relationship to be hyper local here in San Diego is kind of the home base, the HQ.
Yeah.
But then now being able to speak to someone like Straub and then start to really take giant steps towards that goal of making great wine available. And I'd love, Zeke, for you to talk a little bit about the steps that it took to get there, because I don't think people appreciate the level of follow-up of different angles and different plays that you have to do to really achieve.
Yeah.
So tell us a bit about that, because that's been a process, right? With Wahoo's, with initially reaching out a year ago. So talk about that.
Yeah, I think being naive was one of our best traits. Is we really wanted to do this. We saw there was a gap in market. And so I thought it would be way easier, to be honest. But because we had a great product, we were making people money, so it fit. But, it's just new. Canned wine is new. And so we reached out to him a year ago. We dropped product off, but it was too early for us. We didn't have enough proof of concept. We didn't have enough accounts, but now, we're nearing 250 accounts in San Diego. We have a lot of restaurants that are reordering and making money from us. And then we also got a lot of off-premise, like a lot of the coastal stores and some of the suburbs liquor stores, which was really good. So we now had what I'd say like a repeatable sales process. So we knew how to go to the accounts, what to pitch them. And so we got our San Diego distributor Brown Bag using that playbook. And their first 90 days, and I love Brown Bag, by the way, so this might sound bad, but this is all love. They opened like 12 accounts or 15 accounts the first 90 days. And then the next 60 days, they opened like 60. And so we did a training with them. We gave them a deal, and then so we got more ingrained with them and then teaching them how to sell our product. So super long here. So we started out, we built a base of business, then we got with the distributor, we built a playbook. And so now we're going to this really big one and we're going to take our playbook there. And so it just gives us like so much reach. So we reached out to him a year ago. We kept growing our business. We kept contacting. We had a lot of people. And then Wahoo's Fish Tacos, they have 40 locations, but about 35 of them are in Orange County. So once we got that approval, I emailed Mark from Straub and he took a meeting for us. They took a meeting with us, and there's no other way to say it, Cory. I mean, I feel like I'm hogging the mic here. It was just magical. So we have worked on this thing for 2 years to get product right, to get the branding right. We're working on social media. We're building all these accounts. And then all of a sudden we find out we're going to meet with the president and CEO of Straub like that morning.
Yeah. So Rio, you've seen us. I mean, you've seen kind of a lot of this in real time. Yeah. So a couple of things. Number one, there's no formula to any of this, right? Zeke's talking about a playbook, but that's one we developed in market based on our prior experience. There's no actual playbook for this industry, especially if you're trying to build a brand. And so that's number one. So there's no, we're just trying to figure it out, right? And so, going back to it, we have, thankfully we have an amazing network and a handful of people which had kind of direct lines into some different folks at Straub. So, over the past year, like, Zeke said, it's not like we just sent him an email, that's it. It's like different angles, different folks, trying to follow up, trying to keep them updated. And then, yeah, Zeke said it, is like the day we had the meeting, we didn't realize we actually had a formal meeting that day anyways, even though we were heading up to Orange County. And then, he said the meeting was magical, and it was. I mean, number one, we weren't expecting a meeting that morning. It kind of evolved like as the morning progressed. And then the next thing you know, we're just in their office in with Tustin or something. We were in their office, and it was, even that was so surreal. We had an amazing, we connected with those guys so great. I think we were there for probably an hour and a half, and then at some point it got more surreal, and he was like, send him a contract, give him a tour. And I was like, oh my God,
you're getting
happening.
We took a picture in the parking lot, and I think we should post this picture, just thinking that we could get a meeting to get another meeting. Right. I'm like, hey, let's do this moment here. If we sign with these guys eventually, it's going to be a big deal. You don't know how these things are going to go the first time you do these. And Cory and I have told the story of Los Cuernos and ourselves hundreds of times. And I've done it terribly like half the times, to be honest, because it's so much and I'm so excited and I could meander. And so what's cool was Cory started the meeting by telling a story right at the very beginning. So for me, that actually got me to like calm down a little bit because I was so fired up. So he told the story at the beginning, and it was such a cool story because it's a true story, like about why guys try to fix this problem in the market. So when he handed it to me, I remember wanting to do like the business case and all the numbers going through my mind, but I changed at the last second and I was like, no, we're going to talk about the future. And so I said, hey, 5 years from now, the majority of the restaurants in California are going to be counter service. And here's why: automation, robotics, wage pressures, labor shortages. And you could see it already beginning to happen. And wine is a giant category, and bottled wine doesn't work in that format. Canned wine already does. And he looks at us, and you could see that he's getting it. I'm like,
he's a pro.
I'm like, oh my God, he gets
Super
this.
savvy, yeah.
He totally understands. And then we explained like how we were going to market, the margin profile, how we were selling it in, the fact that as distributor people, you could combo in other brands and the leverage that creates, and then what we would do once we started. And he just got us. So this is a true story. And he said, have you talked to anybody else? And one other thing, my wife, tell a story. She told me not to talk to the other distributors. And so it's an inside story. When we first started Los Cuernos, we talked to all the wine spirits distributors, and it got muddy and it was difficult. So this time around, I wanted to have more leverage. We have 250 accounts. We're making people money. We're making sales. My wife's like, don't reach out to anybody else. You want Straub, do Straub. So we literally had only reached out to them in Orange County. So then he asked me, did you reach out to anybody else? And I said, no. My wife told me. I told him in the meeting. My wife told me not to. And he said this. I can't.
It's like, you listen to your what? No.
And he said this. He said, you haven't talked to anyone else. And he looked, he goes, Matt, send them a contract. And we worked on this thing for 2 years. I'm going to goosebumps here. We worked on this thing for like 10, 12 years. At that moment, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like we just signed with one of the largest distribution footprints in the United States. Like that's how crazy it was. And it just happened in like an instant. And I remember looking at Cory and I knew it was happening. And then I thought to myself, let's get out of here.
Yeah.
Before the change of my classic sales guy thing. But we talked, we did a tour afterwards. And yeah, it was a moment. Los Cuernos Wine has changed forever.
Let's go.
And I think
that moment, yeah.
That I'd love to talk a little bit more as well on like, because I think I see this from like a marketing side as well, is that we're constantly thinking about like, how do we communicate the product? How do we communicate the brand? How do we tell the message? Like it's something that we're constantly thinking about, and obviously you guys are as well. And trying to do it to the consumer and making sure that they understand, like, and it's the interesting thing, right? Like this is an innovation in this industry. And with every innovation, trying to communicate why you need to get on it now and be an early adopter, because you're going to be left behind in, like you said, 5 years, is like so hard to communicate to someone who just doesn't think that way, right? Has not been in the industry like you guys have, hasn't like grown with it for the past 10 years, learning and understanding the ways in which brands are adapting to this environment. And I think that's kind of testament to all of us, and you guys in particular, learning how to like convey the brand, right? Like you said, telling the story first, and like, being like, hey, you know what? Fuck this about the numbers. Let's talk about, the future. Let's talk about what is really happening in this industry. And particularly with someone with that sort of leverage, the present CEO of Straub. And I think that leads me on to like another topic that I do want to talk about, which is how, as you have learned to communicate the brand to the customers, to distributors, obviously there's been changes about the brand that you've wanted to implement. One of them I have written down here, kegs, right?
Yes.
And that's an interesting concept for a lot of people. Why kegs for wine? So I'd love to talk a little bit about that, today, things particularly about like sustainability, margin freshness, all of that sort of stuff. So why don't we dive into that topic a little bit more?
Yeah.
Cool. Caveat, we'll probably get Barclay. I mean, he's on LinkedIn from Free Flow Wine. We're going to use Free Flow Wine as our vendor, and he's just an amazing advocate, and so many brand synergies with kind of what they do and what we do too. So it only makes sense to have him on eventually, but go ahead.
Absolutely.
We initially, when we launched Los Cuernos, it was going to be in a bottle. That is true. We switched it to cans like 5 years ago. And then we thought about doing a bag in the box for smaller restaurants because we wanted a way for better wine in smaller restaurants. It's kind of like the root cause of Los Cuernos. But it was a lot to do that off the bat. We saw a space with the cans working. But we had some accounts, in particular one, Bar 1502 in Ocean Beach, Connect OB Noodle House, THC, unbelievable restaurant group. And they did wine on tap. And he mentioned how much they were doing. And I was very stunned on it. So why it works well for us and the beer distributors is beer is already way ahead of wine. They let people try high quality stuff that's fresh. Like, so you can try a new IPA.
They let people there's already,
Yeah, but
well, the infrastructure's there.
hazy. So if
The
you want,
system, there's beer in cans and beer on a keg in a keg.
if you wanted to try something low alc, super dry, like pills, if you want to try something super hoppy, you have these ways to do it, right? But with wine, it's like 4 servings. We're gonna open it, we're gonna dump it out, and then it's just not fresh. Like the fact that you're constantly gambling with it's fresh and like no other item in the entire restaurant you worry about being fresh, like none. Like you don't like beverages, food, whatever. But with wine, it's like you're rolling the dice. So that is where kegs really make sense because freshness matters to the consumer. And so you're taking that one beginning starting point away from them. In fact, I'm telling a segue story here, but a guy that I know from Wine and Spirits, been in the industry for a long time, goes out to his wife last week and he says to the waiter, "Did you open that wine up today?" And he goes, "How come?" He says, "I'm just gonna be honest with you. If you didn't open today, I'm not ordering wine. I'm gonna order a cocktail or beer. You open today, I'll drink."
Wow.
Because he's been in the wine spirits industry for 30 years and he's sold wine for 30 years and spirits, and he's just not gonna drink an unfresh wine. So if that place were to say I had keg wine, they could say it's fresh all the time.
Yeah.
So like
I mean, actually, Zeke's the one who says this. Wine doesn't have a marketing problem. It has a consumer trial and access problem.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we're doing kegs.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem it solves. And plus it allows some flexibility with the retailers. It allows us to be a little more strategic with some of the on-premise retailers with like pricing. And then also it gives them flexibility. For example, this can's 8.4 ounces. So if we sell this can to an on-premise retailer, they have to sell it for, as for 8.4 ounces, where a lot of times their wine by the glass programs are like 6 ounces or different. So keg, they can,
Yeah.
And the other thing, I think, going back to like what I was referring to initially about the communication of the brand and the product to people, it's so interesting how like with the irony is that the can that people disregarded for wine for so many years is now, it will be, and there's no question of it, it will be, it just depends on how people position correctly, it will be the thing that saves wine also. I think that's the irony of it too. And like the keg, I think for me personifies that, like you said, right? Like doing wine by the keg means that he doesn't have to walk in and ask that question of, "Hey, was this opened up today or not?" It's there, it's fresh, just ready to go.
What are we doing, guys?
Yeah, exactly.
What are we doing?
Exactly. And again, it's that innovation piece that people don't understand is that you may not even know, if you're not an experienced wine drinker like that, you may not even know, right? But what they're selling you with this product that's, 1955, whatever it is, like whatever they're selling you, it doesn't matter. It's been open for 2 days. Like it's not that what it's hyped up to be. It's been opened,
right, whatever it was supposed to be, it's less than that.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's like eating a half-eaten burrito from yesterday from a store. It just doesn't make any sense. And I think that's something that I like, and I can claim and happily to say on the podcast, like I'm not a wine guy, right? I'm not from that industry. I'm a target customer for this product, and I think one of my initial things with it was just trying to understand the innovation of it. But now it makes so much sense, right? Like when Brooke, my girlfriend, wants to have wine, I hate, like, I don't want to go to the liquor store and buy wine anymore. It's like we have Los Cuernos in the house, right? And it's so easy to drink and use and then dispose of the can and not have to have this wine bottle out or have a wine shelf that we used to have. It's like that innovation was hard to understand, but once I got a grasp of it, it just made my experience of wine, which I do like, way more enriching, and like that I think for me is like something I want to get across, but also something that I feel like we are just learning to convey better to an audience is like that innovation, you know?
Yeah.
It's crazy if you think about like the biggest problem for wine is they made so much money the old way of selling stale wine, selling in bottles that they just didn't have to change. And if you asked yourself, I'm going to spend $16 on a burrito, $14 on a burger, and I can buy an $8 beer, $10 beer, I can get a cocktail, or I could buy something that I'm not sure that it's going to be good. I'm not sure what it is. Not sure it's from. Like that is why we did this. Like that's incredibly like it's so obvious. It's a giant problem. I can't even say it out loud. Like names, I wouldn't get stale iced tea. I wouldn't get bad coffee. I wouldn't get burger. I wouldn't get a side. It's one product that comes at a restaurant. We're just cool, accepting that it's going to be suboptimal.
Yeah, it's a status quo that has to be done.
Well,
that brings me on to like maybe some current events as well that you can speak into a little bit, Cory.
Yes.
Of like, you know, how not only do we know that in 5 years ago this happened, but we're already starting to see some of the big players like going, oh my God, with wine because of how the industry is currently reacting to it. And talking a little bit maybe about the Constellation.
Oh, yeah. Constellation is one of the biggest wine suppliers in the world. And Zeke can get more into it, but they used to have the biggest wine portfolio ever, and now they're completely out of wine. Why is that the case?
So I want to be gentle here. A lot of friends that worked Constellation, and when wine was on the way up and you were selling wine, it was great. Who didn't love selling wine to restaurants, to events, going to stuff? The whole industry. Constellation was the largest by volume. So net volume, I think Gallo had them on SKUs and penetration. And I guess they went really all in on premium, right, during the time of the pandemic. And now that people are looking more for value, their portfolio is not doing as well. Their beer portfolio is doing incredible. So they are looking to get out of wine. You know, my opinion on it.
What percentage of them getting out of wine has to do with their distribution deal with Modelo?
I mean, they just have the hottest brand. So like I think them focusing on Modelo.
But I think
sense, yeah.
But what I'm kind of referring to, and what I want you to get into a little bit with this as well, is that I think it speaks to the bigger story of the wine industry, right? One of the largest portfolios of wine in the entire world is now entirely out of wine, right? And with a business, you either innovate or you kill the product, right? Like if it's not working anymore. And bottled wine wasn't working, they killed the product. They didn't decide to innovate, which is fine. We'll take that on and we'll do it for you.
So it's like you just said it.
Yeah,
it's perfect. It's great for us.
Yeah.
And you just said it. Everybody's like, you know, pulling the alarm on kind of the wine industry and what they think is happening. It's, you know, crumbling to the ground, but it's not the whole wine industry.
No. I think what I said earlier was they made so much money beforehand, it was hard for them to make any type of adjustment. So I see they're still in the industry, by the way. They're looking to offload these assets. I see that now new owners, or just like us, new people in the industry are now stewards of wine. And so we can bring a fresher, higher quality product and help. I don't know if wine should be costing $2,000-$3,000 a bottle. Does coffee cost that much? Does beer cost that much? I don't know. So wine should cost something, and there should be good wine, but should it be $2,000 a bottle? Unlikely. So that we made really great.
By the way, we got to continue that conversation when we have Landon on, who's the CEO of 100 Acre.
So, but in all products, I think it's certainly
one of the biggest cult wine in California.
But it's unacceptable to sell a low quality, stale product that people have no idea what it is in 2025. That is where we get this thing handed to us from the previous people that run wine, and now it gets handed to us, and we get to go do the right thing by wine. Like that's how I feel about them getting out, is like, okay, this thing it's low carb, it's low sugar, it's natural, it's been around for 6,000 years. Across generations had wine. And I don't think it's going away, and now we can do better by it.
Awesome. Well, I think one other thing that I want to speak about on this topic, and then we're going to move to some other area or related to this topic is, we feel so strongly about the product. Obviously, we're probably a little bit biased, but we're starting to see adoption. I know you've, recently been going up to OC a little bit more now with the agreement with Straub, and there's a lot of fertile ground up there. But I know there's a bit of a debate going on internally with Los Cuernos at the moment regarding wine spectator submissions for ratings.
Hot topic.
So I'd love to get a little, maybe a bit of a debate, let's see, between the pros and cons, what's good and what's not. And then audience, I would love for your input on this as well for the podcast. So we'll have them, explain what wine spectator submissions are, go through a little bit of the pros and the cons, and decide whether you want your product, Los Cuernos, to go to wine spectator submissions, and then we'll see.
Cool. Yeah. So we don't want this to be personal, or this isn't like a kind of an attack. We just try to think of things differently.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so for us, if you really, really think about it, we believe that, these, whether it's wine spectator, whoever, enthusiast, there's all kinds of them that essentially rate the wine to determine the value and the quality of the wine. We believe that the judge of that should be our customers, our consumers. So we started with our customer, and then we work backwards. So and then to boot, we're industry experts, we're somms, we've tasted a bazillion wines. So for us to just rely on outsourcing that, it seems counterintuitive. But
again, like flipping the script on what the tradition is, right? Of like us deciding what's good and then dictating it to the customer. It's like, let's let the customer decide, and then let them from there, go for it. So yeah, but that's an argument against it. So let's talk a little bit about it. Let's go into that.
Well, number one, it's so subjective.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to kind of start spitballing here. And I know Zeke's raring to go and fired up, but it's super subjective. So number one, I don't want to be specific about Wine Spectator because everybody has their own different ways of doing it. So number one is just to ensuring that, everybody gets a fair shake, which usually isn't necessarily the case. Zeke and I were invited to, it wasn't a spectator event, but it was another kind of wine judgy kind of situation and event where they were scoring wines, and we were invited by a couple friends that were judging this particular event, and we were blown away what we saw and what we heard, and not to incite drama or anything, but let's just face it, the legacy people that were judging this contest, there were these huge big name buyers from all over the country, big retailers. And I want to be careful not to pass any judgment. I'll just relay what I heard these people say. We're like, we don't know wine. We're not wine people. And then, I could go deeper, even with some of, super well-known, horrible, low-quality wines were submitted. And then they come out the other side with almost the same or as good as scores as the other. So it just hasn't seemed right for us. Don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, but
well, yeah. Let's put the power back in our consumers' hands too, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're watching this. You're obviously a Los Cuernos wine fan. Do you want the credibility to be in your hands, or do you want that to be decided by other people, and then you told that this is good wine or not?
Let's face it. This is fueled by the industry being too complicated.
Yeah,
it's almost like the wine, legacy industry elites are like so excited. The average consumer has to rely on, oh, well, that organization or that one individual gave it this arbitrary subjective points, whatever that means.
Careful, look at you. See?
Instead of,
yes.
Oh, that's great. I like that.
And then taking a bite of the burrito off.
It's like, don't overthink it. Just drink what you like.
Yeah,
and so, but I think because so much fear has been instilled and just confusion with the general consumer, and at least for me, over the years, I've been conditioned to just be like, oh, that's what you do. That's what, so when, Gerardo is, by the way, this is real life stuff. We're going through this now. We're engaged with the Spectator. Heard nothing but awesome things about them. They're engaged with our winemaker. They're looking to do something with Los Cuernos. They've reached out, but we just need to understand more, and we don't just want to automatically give into the kind of the old system.
Status quo,
Yeah.
And like I think going back to that, I'm going to tell a little story about what you just described of like how it should just be what you like. You know, I think I have been personally on a little bit more of a journey. Like I said, before starting to work with Los Cuernos, I had wine here and there with the family. It was like, rite of passage. I was growing up. My dad loves wine and is very into it and has taken classes on the whole like making process and picking grapes and all of that sort of stuff, but never really into it too much. And I've been on a little bit more of my own journey, having started Los Cuernos, of just trying wine. It's not only ever drinking Los Cuernos, but going and getting a bottle and seeing if I like it and seeing why I like it and stuff, and just trying to understand the industry more because it's fascinating. And it's been the exact experience for me, where it's like I've walked into a store and, maybe one time I'm feeling a little bit bougie and I'll go get a $40 bottle of wine, right? And then I'll go in the next time and I'll buy an $18 bottle of wine, right? And I'll go between them and there's never a correlation. There has never once been a correlation for me at all with the price and the taste, ever. Like sometimes the really expensive stuff does taste great. Other times I'm like, I just wasted so much money on this, right? And then other times the cheapest stuff has tasted great and it's not tasted so good. So it's just all been about preference. And then once I found something that I like, I've continued to drink it, right? I've gone and got that bottle again, and I think for me it's seems so like obvious as a consumer that is your process, right? If you bought something off Amazon and you didn't like it, you would send it back, right? It's like it's the same thing.
Now you get people apologizing for liking certain kinds of wine. I don't know if you've heard these people. Once people start talking about wine, they're like, it's usually instigated by just them feeling like they don't know,
exactly,
right? At a fear, and then all of a sudden they're like, well, I just like this. And it's like, when
that's great.
You what like other wine. Industry? Yeah. What other industry forces the consumer, knowingly or not, to become an apologist?
Yeah.
Like I've never said to anybody like apologize for like the type of food I like. Or the way I like.
Sorry for ordering gin.
Yeah.
Sorry. I want to go one different route here about critics or and Cory and I like bottled wine, and we think the beginning of the journey is bad for wine. The consumer trial piece is bad, and so like when it's bad at the beginning, then they're not even gonna go like to the bottles. Like you're never even gonna get someone to go to the bottles if they can't try something like really decent at the beginning. So let's talk about critics versus how we made Los Cuernos. So big difference between critics, wine, spectator, wine enthusiast, decanter, anyone that's a big critic for wine. Robert Parker used to be a really big one. So they are getting wine sent to them. So they're getting hundreds, thousands of bottles sent to them, and they are making a choice based on their palate and what they deem to be like pleasant wine. Our wine is different. Like I'll tell you with the red blend that I tried like 100 red blends and 200 red blends in California, in Illinois, everywhere I'd go, and I watch people try the wine. So our feedback is from watching people enjoy the wine. So there is as flavor profile that people will like. That's a fruit forward California full-bodied wine. And so that is a very big difference, is that we got ours from all this consumer feedback. Look at their faces, hearing this varietal, this. And that's how we select our wines, through feedback loops. Whereas I am one person getting all this wine sent to me and I'm making an opinion on that. So
it's like
it could be the same though.
I hope that the audience appreciates and can understand and comprehend what he is describing. Zeke, what you just described is just a good go-to-market strategy for a product. Like that's all you described. You just described, I'm going to get a product and I'm going to do a good go-to-market strategy. I'm going to get customer feedback and I'm going to tailor my product towards it and I'm going to give it to them.
Yeah.
You know, that's what you described.
I would buy red blends and I would test people on different red blends.
Yeah.
And that's how we and that's how we picked all these wines.
I'm going to make this
Yeah.
Gen Z for everybody too.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to put this in perspective. If you this is the what is currently happening in the wine industry versus what we're doing. Okay, so if you went onto Instagram, TikTok, Amazon, right? Let's say you went onto those different marketplaces, and you had to only buy product through influencers marketing videos. That was the only option that you were able to buy them through, was through one person or, multiple influencers, you can say,
It's
but
getting good.
a single individual marketing the product to you, as opposed to you going on Amazon, you searching for what you want, and then you getting that output and being able to order that. That is the difference. You're describing the difference between a good marketplace of options as opposed to a single individual or, groups of individuals, but filtering out the voice of the entire industry through those sets of people. And that's making it a little bit Gen Z, I guess. That for me is what you're describing,
They
Nailed
can buy wine from wine people they trust instead of from a big corporation or some lie or some fake story.
It's so
This is a real story.
yeah. So another real story to tie to this. It actually came when I was pre-selling in Orange County. By the way, we are going to destroy Orange County. It's even more. Oh my god. Oh, it's not even going to be funny. It's just So, I've already been up there pre-selling for 2 days. We haven't even shipped our wine to Straub or finalized or figured all that out. It's all good though. And people are like, can I order right now? I'll text my Straub guy. I'm like, no. They don't know yet. But anyway, I was at this one place, unbelievable counter service, crazy food, chef driven. Zach is the chef's name. I believe it's called Salt and Lime, and it's in Costa Mesa. The food is amazing. And side note, his mom is super sweet too. She was there helping him out. When I finally connected with Zach, I had lunch there and kind of posted up, had the computer open, and had a really good talk with Zach eventually before I left. And he was like, you know what? And for the record, amazing food, and then even very thoughtful beverage selection. But when it came to wine, it was just one option. And so I got to give Zach some credit, but then he kind of saved his own face by some of the comments he made. But he only had one wine. He had 3 different varietals, which is great, and it was a canned wine, right? So I was like, that's great. He's serving a fresh wine, something that's easy for his operations. Doesn't have to fuss with all the other stuff, even though he's a wine guy, right? So he gets it. I really love his innovative mindset. But even he knew it was from one of the big wine and spirit distributors, and the brand itself was just I wasn't going to just, it's not my style, just come clown on the competition unless somebody makes me. But what he said was, he goes, I am so happy that I have an opportunity to partner with someone. He said it in a different way, but it was basically someone like him.
Yeah.
Like he's obsessed over quality. He's local. He's authentic. He's like a real guy with a real story who has a real chef past and all this stuff. And he's just trying to do the right thing for the people in Newport and Costa Mesa. So all that to say was, from the surface, it could just look like he's switching out one, canned wine brand for another. But to him, it's much different than that. And he picked it up super fast.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And just giving the people that care about their customers the opportunity to pleasure them further with the experience that they provide at their restaurant and whatever it is, that's
Zeke. Why can we get a good beer? Like, we can get a good beer, but we have to roll the dice with wine. We flip a coin.
No longer.
But beer, we don't flip a coin. Like beer, I'm gonna get a good beer almost every time. But with wine, it's like 1 in 4. And
absolutely.
That's
you're being nice.
Okay, next topic I want to talk about a little bit then. So
no, we're not done with Orange County. So Orange County is one of the largest wine markets in the whole world. And Cory and I have worked every inch of it, from Seal Beach to San Clemente to East Anaheim.
Daughters were all born in Long Beach.
To Santa Ana.
Orange County.
City of Orange, Costa Mesa, Huntington, Seal, Newport, San Juan Capistrano, Dare Ranch. like Kodo, every single
We'll wait for
Irvine. Oh my God, Irvine. Yeah, we are coming to Orange County with Straub to impose our will.
So if you're watching this and you're in OC,
come say hi to us.
Los Cuernos is coming soon.
Yep.
And yeah, so I wanted to talk about, obviously we're talking about all the momentum that has been built up essentially over the last 2 years here, coming up on the second anniversary of Los Cuernos. You guys, no one sees this for sure, but you guys work immensely hard behind the scenes to bring about the success, to have these conversations, to be ready to go and meet with Straub at the drop of a hat, and that doesn't come without a huge amount of sacrifice from yourselves, but then also from your families, right, as well. And what is that like? I think you spoke earlier about your wife and how much support she's provided and the advice that she's given that has proven to be extremely correct and helpful in the process. And I know that Zeke, you place a lot. Cory, you place a lot of emphasis as well of making sure you spend that time with your daughters as well, and in your day in the lives, go on the bike rides and swimming and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it must be extremely hard to balance all of this. So I'd love for you guys to maybe just do a little bit to that, pay a little bit of thanks, I guess, to your wives and to your
Thanks for real. Thanks for bringing this up.
I'll go somewhat quick. I'll try to, Cory. So yes, I want Sandra to listen to my wife. This just happened, was it a week and a half ago, Saturday? So first and foremost, we are lucky that we get to do what we do, right? We're in the US, we get to do this startup and we're going to make it. So it all feels good now. At the beginning, we quit corporate jobs, we took giant pay cuts and everyone told us we're crazy. So there's a weird part to all of it, but here we are, and this is just a crazy day. And so generally Cory and I work 50 to 60 hours a week. I think that's fair. People that work way more than 60, I haven't seen a lot, but we work a really hard week. But sometimes we have to do events on Saturdays and Sundays, which means our wife and kids have been waiting. Cory and I each have $3 and waiting for us all week. And then we have stuff to do, and then we build it all in. So this is my crazy Saturday. I go Saturday morning with my middle daughter to the gym, and then I come home and I take my youngest daughter, my middle daughter's 14, my youngest daughter to soccer, and she plays a game. And then from there, I went to go watch Frozen the play, which Cory's daughters were in. His oldest was doing the backstage of the
circle
and the lighting. His other two were the shows, and then did all that. And that was in different parts of town, raced all the way home, changed. And then Cory and I went to the San Diego State Aztec game.
It was their last home game
with Wing, the owner of Wahoo's. It was an amazing time. It's funny, how we think about it. It was a blowout. SCSU played amazing. We were kind of relieved it was a blowout, so we could leave earlier.
The wing was aligned, right? But you have to be smart. You have to be smart with it. You have to balance it. And one of the tricks of the trade is
I want to just cap it off. So after doing those first events, Cory and I are going to show up at 7:30 on a Saturday after working on these hours, and we're going to bring the energy too, because people expect out of us this energy. And then we watch Wing, and he sees his old classmates, and then all of a sudden we're on the board and we're talking to people, and yeah. So at the end of the day, it was super excited, but that was one full day.
Yeah, just to get a bit of an insight into it. And I think,
sorry, Cory,
one thing before I get on to you, Cory, I want to hear one more thing from Zeke on this. I think there's been a couple of occasions that I think maybe you guys don't even notice that I find is so beautiful with this whole story, as well as how woven your families are into it too, right? You talked about Sandra, earlier with Straub and how she was very instrumental in that process. But then also with the same story, your daughter.
Yeah.
And then the story, I want you to tell that to everyone.
Oh, yeah. Okay. We'll go quickly to this one so it doesn't get all emotional. But the fact that we got to meet with the Straub CEO was this thing we found out in the morning via text. And so I was heading out the door and I saw her. I said, hey.
And this is his youngest.
My youngest.
She's 9.
Great question. My youngest, Val. And I said, And I was just thinking of getting another meeting. So I wasn't thinking of closing some deals, Straub. I said, hey, Dad's meeting with the CEO of Straub today. If they say yes to us, I'm going to buy you a present. Knowing it was like impossible. So, we did this meeting. By the way, we did this meeting with Straub, another typical day for Cory and I. We do stuff in the morning. Then we go to Straub in Orange County. Then we go visit with Wing. And then we go to accounts. And then we get home like at 8:30 p.m. So I left my house. I left my daughter like at 7 a.m. I got home at 8:30 p.m. The first thing she said is, am I getting a toy? And I said, yes, you are. It was the best thing ever. I was like, don't do that. I was like, no, it was worth it. It was.
And then within the next,
yeah, come out here. You can pick whatever you want.
guess who else asked for a toy?
Who?
You, my daughter,
Oh.
who's best friends with Val. She heard about it.
Mine. He said he. Yeah.
So win. I was like, hey,
Yeah.
I didn't do that deal.
But yeah, I think those moments, and you, Zeke, Cory, you've given me a couple as well, like that as well, where it's just, I think you guys you're in the moment and you're going through it. But I think when you've said those in our meetings, like prior to this, and we're talking about what we should talk about, it's like those things for me are just like, that's incredibly heartwarming, to be sat here and to be young and have none of those responsibilities, and not have.
Yeah, you're going to the Philippines tomorrow.
Yeah.
I know.
I was just in Hawaii.
I know.
It's like,
Guys!
I've got no,
Costa Rica.
I've got no responsibility, and people still call me crazy, right? For the risk that I'm taking, and the amount of people that work with us and stuff, and how much responsibility there is there. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm like, have you seen Zeke and Cory? Like you guys have families when you started,
Yes.
and like, you have way more obligation and responsibility than I could ever even imagine of right now in my life.
Yeah, you will get it one day.
Yeah, but it's like that sense is like, again, I just want people to understand and appreciate the effort that this success takes. Like we sit down and we talk about the momentum that's been built and the highlights from that momentum, but like the work that's gone into that and the sacrifice from the families and the mental fortitude from you two as well to like stay the freaking path. Like I don't think that can be underestimated as well.
Thanks, Real.
Yeah,
that means a lot.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah,
really
that
cool.
was-
Thanks
that
for
was-
saying that.
super deep. I want to tell a quick Cory story because I was telling Sandra the other day. This is that way he doesn't have to brag about it. She's like, "Where's Cory at?" I was like, "Well,
When was this, by the way?
this was like last Thursday." I was like, "He started off. He went to Chula Vista, then he went downtown, and then he's going to Point Loma, and then he's meeting with the office, and then he's going to go to a couple places at Oceanside. Then he has to drive over to his kids' play, and then he's going to get home like at 9 p.m. And just saying it all out loud, Sarah's like, that's a lot of gas. I was like, yeah. He went from Chula Vista, right, so we're in Carlsbad. Chula Vista is 45 minutes south. And then he drove 20 minutes to downtown. And then he drove 15 minutes to Point Loma. And then I think he went to La Jolla to visit one place. So I got 10 minutes. Then he drove back to the office 30 minutes. And then went to Oceanside another 20 minutes. And then drove 45 minutes. And then
and you've got to you're visiting accounts, right? So you have to be on the whole time.
Yeah, or doing a million things.
Yeah,
Accounts is a big piece, but even in the car and
I don't think I think there's like 2 times I can count where we've had our meetings.
Mm-hmm.
We meet on a weekly basis aside from this. And I think there's 2 times where you have not been in your car.
yeah,
That makes sense. That makes sense. No, one of the things that saves me, a couple things, is we're always being aware of the other person's schedule, like our family schedule. It matters so much. And then as soon as there's opportunity, we'll lean in. So when Zeke's family, his wife's from Colombia, and a couple of years ago, or they actually, when we were just starting this, it was instrumental. They went to Colombia. Free time, right? More free time, right? So we take advantage of that. Or like Zeke was mentioning, my wife and all 3 of my daughters, they were all involved in a big theater production. Did 11 shows over 2 weeks and all the stuff. And I'm like, okay, that's a lot. We were all in agreement as a family, but so I'm like, oh, they're not home till 9:00 tonight. Yes. Or,
yeah.
And then just take advantage. But one thing, just on a serious note for me, just a practical thing, not, this helps anybody, cool, but it's, we've implemented these things in my house, and they're weekly meetings, and we just call them family meetings, and we have kind of go through some stuff, kind of like a loose agenda, but it allows everybody to kind of have a voice at the table. So we go through everything, whether it's like, somebody's bothering somebody or whether it's a commitment, but most importantly, we go through our schedules. So we do this on Sunday, we go through the next week. It's like, okay, we literally go one by one. Hey, what do you got going on? Hey, for me, this in day by day by day. And then if they need something, if they have a request, they ask. If somebody can commit, they do it. And then they're held accountable too. So through the whole week, I know exactly what day, like the evenings look like, what time, if we're having dinner, a little early one night, or if I have some flexibility another night. So for me, just trying to, because it's crazy, right? It's not easy, but there's the cliches about that. So it is what it is, but it helps manage it so much better, because if my wife and my family are not in line with what I'm doing, none of this works. None of it works.
Hold on. One throw out there is his wife homeschools. And she's been homeschooling before it was cool, like their entire lives. So Cory has a 17-year-old, 16 or 17?
16.
16. So he's been homeschooling 16 years. We started during COVID, which I kind of blamed on Cory. But I have seen what it is, the growth in my wife and the relationships and what it's done for her. So it's just a different way, public, private, homeschool, and I see a third way. But that's another part of this journey, which I kind of laughed at. I was like, not only am I doing a startup, I'm homeschooling. Like, I was like, let's just make this as hard as possible to do this.
No, I think that's beautiful. And like you said, I think a lot of the time, like entrepreneurship, particularly for my generation, 100% for my generation, is like super glamorized, right? It's like the thing to do. And like I don't think people understand the effort it takes just from a coordination standpoint. Like you said, with a family, it's like if they're not coordinated, none of this happens, right? And and I think that's a level of appreciation that a lot of people just can't relate to in a lot of ways. And it's like, yeah, this is fun and all, and I can go to the Philippines on a Thursday afternoon, but it's like
I can't.
The Monday through Wednesday I've had to do that, like I don't think people like could even dream of doing it, So it's like there's the sacrifice in it that people I think never just understand and appreciate, and yeah, seeing it it's inspiring seeing it from both of you and how you kind of implement things like family meetings to be able to ensure that the business stays alive and excels, and then ensure that the family is doing the same thing. Because I think it's a lot of the time just disregarded, like not even in entrepreneurship, but in like people's careers with their families, right? It's just like, family comes second. I've got to go, do the breadwinning.
It's like one or the other.
Yeah.
It's like chase the money and the job and the corporate or not.
So what you were saying about family earlier, having family meetings, without them, none of this works either, right? And the same goes for you, Zeke. But I think what the other thing I want to talk to, I want to blow smoke up your ass all
That's as much smoke as I can have up my butt. Please, let's go.
but like
turtle,
how you're saying that it none of it works without them. I think for you guys, I think the other part that's been really interesting for me to see is that for you, it started with family, and that family then extended into Los Cuernos, Like when we first met and we started talking, like you would introduce Gerardo like pretty early on, because we went and did the trip with him and stuff like that.
Yep.
And you introduced him as like, one of the Los Cuernos family. It wasn't like, he's our wine
add-on.
He's he's part of the fam. He's third generation farmer. His family is amazing too. And then he's our winemaker. And I think that's a big, I guess, secret sauce. Part of the success of Los Cuernos is like, it's the family, right? It's like, these are...
I'm so sorry to cut you. I'm so excited about this topic is that we're lifers. Like I literally was stocking shelves at a liquor store at 17 years old. And I worked in restaurants, and I've done this, and I'm 48 now, so 31 years. Gerardo was born, like he was like 12 years old, grunt running grapes and like doing stuff. They're just like telling him what to do all the time. And so he knows it from the very beginning, and then he makes wine. So yeah, like he is this piece because he grew up in a different part of the world. And same with Cory, but we all grew up with this love of wine and we're growing, and then we all just came together at this time. So yeah, Cory and I know a lot about wine, but we can't make wine. So
and yeah, I love that. Awesome. Well, let's wrap this up. It's been an amazing episode. Very high energy, very excited to be calling out the wine industry for what it is right now and showing the future of what it is, which is right here in this can. But yeah, lots of momentum being built. Congratulations, both of you guys, for Straub. If you're watching this from LA, OC, Long Beach, any of those areas, know that we're coming to you very soon into all of the amazing accounts, restaurants, counter service places that you know and love already. And we're going to be there supporting them and being part of their family.
Lakers?
oh,
Lakers. Wink, wink,
Luka.
wink. Nudge, nudge, wink.
Go.
Luka, we're coming for you. But yeah, if you are not already, then I would love for you guys to go check out the Instagram. Obviously, you're here watching us on either YouTube or one of the podcast platforms. So subscribe. Leave comments down below of some more stuff that you want to hear these guys talk about, whether it's their history, their past, whether it's about the wine industry. They are a fountain of knowledge in this area, so I can always draw it out of them. But please do like, subscribe, share your thoughts, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.
Let's go.
Later.
Cheers.
Peace. Cheers.
That was awesome.
Oh.